The day they called his name in the assembly, Tiberius Gracchus was thinking about a well. A woman in Etruria who came out without being asked. A name she said for 500 farms. He would think about it for the rest of his life. 133 BC. The Forum. This is Roman Nights. We go back. We listen. We stay a while. 4 months earlier. He has just come home from Spain. The road through Etruria smells of dust and something wrong. Chapter 1. The road back. The road north of Rome smells of dust and old hay. Etruria in early spring. The hills are still brown. The olive trees have not come back fully yet. Their branches are the gray-green of things that have survived winter without deciding yet whether to continue. The earth along the road is dry at the top and cold underneath. When the horse's hooves break through the crust, the smell of it comes up. Wet stone and old root. Tiberius rides. He has been riding for 3 days from the Spanish coast. He's not in a hurry. He has not been in a hurry since Numantia, since the treaty, since the Senate voted on what the treaty meant and what to do about the man who made it, since he learned that bringing 20,000 soldiers home alive was something Rome could punish you for. He has time to think on this road. He has been using it. The first farm he passes has no farmer, only slaves. 8 of them in a field that should take 3 free men to work. He can tell by the size of it. He has been learning to read land the way soldiers read terrain. He learned from his father, who governed Spain, who thought the way a man thinks when he has to understand what ground means before he acts. He slows his horse. The slaves do not look up. They know the sound of a rider on the road. It does not concern them. A rider on the road is nothing to do with them. Their world is the field in front of them and the man watching them from the edge of it. The rider will pass. He watches them work for a moment. Their tools are the tools of men who did not choose the tools. Not maintain the way a free man maintains equipment he will use for 20 years. Adequate. Sufficient. The tools of labor. That will be replaced when it breaks, not repaired. He keeps riding. 3 more farms. The same. 2 men's worth of land worked by 20 slaves. 1 man's land worked by 30. He does not know who owns them yet. He can guess. The type. Senate family. Old money. The kind that has been slowly absorbing public land for 60 years. The law that should have stopped it stopped being enforced. A law not enforced is a different thing from a law. The law in question is 130 years old. Licinius and Sextius passed it in the year of their own consulship. Public land. No citizen to hold more than 500 Iugera. No exceptions. The principle was Roman and old. It had the clarity of principles everyone agrees with in the abstract, then quietly sets aside in practice. Nobody enforces it. Nobody has enforced it in the memory of any living person in Rome. The land does not know who owns it. That is the only thing the land and the law have in common. He reaches a village at midday. 12 houses. 4 of them empty. The doors stand open. Weeds in. The garden plots. The kind of weeds that take a full season to grow that thick. Someone left in spring or summer. The garden kept going without them. He stops at the well. He has stopped at every well on this road. He is counting and he needs water. Both things are true. He does not separate them. A woman comes out of the nearest house. She is not old. She looks old. This is a different thing. She brings him water without being. He notes this. He thanks her. He uses her name when she tells him. Once at the end of the sentence, she looks slightly surprised as people do when someone bothers. He says, "Where did the families go?" She says, "Rome, or the army, or they sold out and went somewhere else." He says, "Sold to who?" She names a name. He knows the name. It is a Senate name. It appeared in the debate about his Numantine treaty, in the speeches against him. The man who had said the treaty was a disgrace, that Rome did not make deals from weakness, that Tiberius Gracchus should answer for it. The man held 500 Iugera of public land. Minimum. Tiberius says, "When?" She says, "Different times. Some sold when the men went to Sardinia. Some when they went to Spain. Easier to buy when the men are away. Cheaper too. He drinks the water. He says, "What did the families get for it?" She says a number. He knows what the land is worth. He has been doing calculations all morning. The number she says is 1/10 of the market rate. He hands back the cup. He says her name again once where it would do work. She stands a little straighter without knowing thus, he keeps riding. By evening the Tiber Valley opens below him. Rome is down there in the last light. Stone and smoke and the particular quality of a city in the hour before it lights its fires. He has been away for 8 months. He has been in this city his whole life. He knows it the way you know a place after long enough to see what it is, what it was trying to be. He stops on the ridge. Below, the last fields before the city walls. More slaves. More empty farmhouses. Closer to the city where the land is worth more, the consolidation is older and more complete. There are men in the Senate who have never thought of these fields as anything but theirs. He has been counting since Etruria. He has the numbers now. He is not angry. Anger would be simpler than this. Anger is a response to something unexpected. He has understood the theory of this problem for years. Blasius laid it out clearly. The land goes. The soldiers go. The army hollows out. The Senate sits on the land and votes on the army. It is different when you have ridden through it for 3 days and counted. The army needs soldiers. This is the calculation he keeps doing. Soldiers come from small landowners. The law requires a property minimum for military service. Below the minimum you cannot serve. The land is being absorbed. The farmers sell or lose the farms. They move to the city. They become the urban poor who are many things but are not soldiers the legion can use. The men who took the land sit in the Senate and vote on the army budget. They vote to extend service, to send men further, to keep them longer. They send men with farms to defend, to a war that takes them away from those farms for 5, 6, 8 years. Someone buys the farms cheap while the men are away. The men come home to nothing. The senator who bought the farm votes on whether to extend the next campaign. Tiberius has done this calculation many times on this road. Comes out the same way. He rides down into the city. The forum at dusk is not empty. It is never empty. Merchants finishing late work. Lawyers between offices. The usual Rome doing what Rome does when nobody is watching it particularly. Tiberius rides through the edge of it. He knows this forum. He has known it since he was a child. He knows its smell. Old stone and the river. Smoke and food and too many people. He knows the faces, not all of them but the type. The senator walking fast with 2 men behind him. The merchant, who holds his purse at certain corners. He watches it and does the calculation again. The same numbers. The same result. He has tried to find the place where it does not come out the same way. He has not found it. The forum does not know he has looked at it differently tonight. It will. Chapter 2. 3 men. The first man Tiberius calls on is his father-in-law, Appius Claudius Pulcher, former consul, former censor. The man the Senate calls when it needs someone to speak who everyone will listen to. He is old now. He moves more slowly than he did. His mind has not slowed with the rest of him. This is both useful and tiring for the people who deal with him. He receives Tiberius in the atrium. He sits across the table. He does not offer food or wine. He does not do this with people he takes seriously. Food and wine are for visits where the outcome does not matter. Tiberius lays out the law. Its 4 parts. The numbers from Etruria. The Licinian precedent. Appius listens without interrupting. He has a quality of attention that does not require movement. He sits and he listens. His face does not do what faces do when someone is thinking about their response instead of the content. He is listening to the content. When Tiberius finishes, Appius is quiet for a moment. He says, "The Senate will fight it." Tiberius says, "Yes." Appius says, They will fight it because they hold the land. Tiberius says, yes. Appius says, good. This is not the answer Tiberius expected. He waits. Appius says, I have watched the Senate take what it wants for 40 years. He is quiet for a moment. Appius says, they name it something else. Management. Custom. Stability. He says, I would like to see the other thing happen once. Before I die. He says it without particular heat. The way a man states it. Preference he has held for a long time. Quietly. With patience. He is in. The second man is more careful. Publius Licinius Crassus dives. Pontifex Maximus. The highest religious office Rome has. He controls the calendar of sacred observances. He decides which days the assemblies may meet. He is a tall man. He moves with the deliberateness of someone who has never been in a hurry. He understands that the calendar is his. The assembly waits until he says it can meet. He is a man whose support the Senate will notice. He reads the draft law. He reads it slowly. He reads it twice. Then he sets the tablets on the table and says nothing for a moment. The kind of nothing that is its own form of response. He says, the Licinian law is still on the books. Tiberius says, yes. Crassus says, this is enforcement. Tiberius says, that is the argument. Crassus says, not new legislation. Tiberius says, no. Crassus picks up the tablets again. He reads a section. He sets them down. He is a man who has been careful for 60 years. He has built a career on saying things he means and not saying things he does not mean. People know this about him. They come to him for it. The value of his support is exactly its cost. It is not given lightly. When it is given, it holds. He says, a law that is not enforced is not a law. It is a record of something Rome once thought and then forgot. Rome has too many things it has forgotten. Pause. I will support the principle, he says. The principle is sound. What the Senate does with it after is a different conversation. With Crassus, the second conversation is always later. Tiberius thanks him. He does not push. He has learned from his mother when to push and when to file and wait. He files it. The third man says no first. Quintus Mucius Scaevola is known for two things. He says no. He has said no to better men than Tiberius. To consuls, censors, men with 40 years of Senate service behind them. He says no with the specific politeness of a man who does not need to be unkind to be clear. The second thing, when he says yes, he means it. He has never supported something that later fell apart on its own logic. His name on a position is a claim that the position will hold. Under questioning. This reputation is worth more to him than any particular cause. He reads the draft law for a long time. He does not speak. He turns the tablets. He reads them and, to beginning, he has a method. Tiberius has heard about it. He reads the end of a document first, to see what the writer was trying to prove. Then reads from the front, to see how they proved it. He says, there are problems. Tiberius says, which ones? Scaevola lists them. Takes a while. The definition of public land and border territories, where the original surveys are incomplete or disputed. The process for appeals, which needs a defined timeline or the commission will sit on cases for years. The question of improvements. A man who built a house or planted an orchard on land he held illegally for 20 years. What happens to the structure? What happens to the trees? The question of inheritance. If a holder dies before the commission reaches his property, does the obligation transfer to heirs or reset? Each problem is real. Tiberius writes each one down. He does not argue. He does not explain why the problem is less serious. Then Scaevola thinks. He writes. When Scaevola finishes, Tiberius looks at the list. He says, can these be fixed? Scaevola says, yes. Then he says, the principle is sound. The historical basis is sound. The Licinian law is on the books and valid. You are not inventing something. You are recovering something that was allowed to lapse. He looks at Tiberius. Fix the problems, he says. I will stand behind the principle. 3 men. 3 different calculations arriving at the same direction. Appius wants one good thing before he dies. He has watched the Senate take what it wants for 40 years. Crassus wants the law to mean something. A suggestion is not a law. Scaevola wants the argument to hold. He does not attach his name to things that break. None of them want the same thing. All of them are going to help. This is how Rome moves. Not conviction. Convergence. Different men, different reasons, the same direction long enough to shift something. The Senate notices men who collect allies with 3 different kinds of credibility. It ignores them with the particular care of men who are paying very close attention. Chapter 3, 500 Iugera. The law has 4 parts. First, no Roman citizen to hold more than 500 Iugera of public land. Sons may hold 250 each. 2 sons at most. Family maximum of 1,000 Iugera. Second, land above the limit to be returned to the state. No. Compensation to current holders. The land was never theirs. They were permitted to use it. The permission is ending. Third, returned land to be redistributed in plots of 30 Iugera. To Roman citizens who hold none. The plots cannot be sold. Fourth, a commission of 3 men to identify the public land, verify the holdings, carry out the redistribution. 4 paragraphs. Blasius's argument. Tiberius's calculations. Scaevola's corrections. 6 weeks of revision. This is the law. Tiberius works alone in the mornings. He has the tablets, the numbers from Etruria, the census data from the most recent count. He has made his own calculations. Not the official interpretation, but they keep arriving at the same conclusion the official version avoided. He does not pace. He sits at the desk. He adds and subtracts and then adds again. His stylus marks the wax in a hand that is neater than most. He learned from Diophanes, who had opinions about the relationship between clarity of hand and clarity of thought. He never decided whether Diophanes was right. He kept a neat hand. The numbers are this. Rome's legions require property-owning citizens. A man below the census minimum cannot serve. In the last 30 years, the number of men above the census minimum has declined. The army is finding the requirements harder to meet. It extends service. It lowers standards in practice while keeping them on paper. The centurions know this. The tribunes know this. It has not yet become a problem. The Senate has formally noticed. It will. The land and the army are the same problem from different angles. Fix the land and the army fixes itself. Do not fix the land and the army will eventually stop working the way Rome expects it to. Or, by the time the Senate notices, the problem will be larger. He has told Blasius this. Blasius said, yes. He has told Scaevola. Scaevola said, the numbers are correct, fix the legal problems. He has told Appius. Appius said, good. None of them have told him he is wrong. The men who will fight the law do not fight the numbers. They fight the principle. They say, private property. They say, existing agreements. They say, stability. They say, precedent. What they mean is different from what they say. What they mean is this. We have held this land for 30 years. Some of us for 60. Our fathers held it. We paid nothing for it. It was public land. The law said we could not hold more than 500 Iugera. But we held it. The holding became familiar. Familiar became expected. Expected became right. And now someone proposing to enforce the law feels like theft. This is not a strong argument in law. It is a very effective one in practice. A senator named Scipio Nazica holds 4,000 Iugera of public land in 3 separate regions. He built on it over 20 years. He planted on it. He borrowed against the value of it for his sons' educations and his daughters' dowry. His name appears in the old records as an illegal holder. But the old records are old. They do not send collectors. The law would take 3,500 Iugera from him. This would not ruin him. He has other assets, other holdings. is not a poor man and would not be a poor man afterward. He tells himself this is about principle. He tells himself this when he speaks in private, at dinner tables, in conversations that are not quite political discussions but carry their weight. He says, it is about the Republic, about what kind of city Rome is, about what happens when you tell men who have held land for a generation that the holding was illegal all along. He believes this. He is not dishonest when he says it. He has said it often enough that it has become a true thing for him. The land and the principle have fused. He cannot separate them cleanly enough to see one without the other. Men always find the word that is not the accurate word. The stakes just have to be high enough. The word moves through Rome the way words move. Not announced, not posted. Man to man and dinner table to dinner table. The way important information travels when people are not yet certain whether it is a threat or a nuisance. A tribune, a land bill, 500 Iugera, the Licinian law. In the houses on the Palatine and the Esquiline, men who hold public land do Tiberius's calculation. The numbers are the same. The results point in different directions. Some of them have held the land for a generation. Some inherited. Some borrowed against it. Some built on it and waited years for the trees to come in. The land is not theirs under the law. They have known this in the abstract for their entire lives. They begin to think about concretely now. What they think about is not the law. They think about the houses, the olive groves, the debt arranged against the land's value. The arrangements, informal but functional, that have organized their finances for 20 years. They think we cannot give it back. They think this. Then they look for the principle that makes this thought into something they can say in the Senate. They find it. They are always able to find it. This is one of the things the Senate is very good at. Tiberius works late. The lamp is low. Scaevola's corrections are in a stack to the right. His own revisions are in a stack to the left. The middle of the table has the current version, marked in 4 different hands for different inks. He reads it. He reads it again. He believes the law is right. He has believed this since Etruria. He will believe it when the Senate debates it and after. He does not know yet that being right is one of the smaller things. He will find this out. He rolls up the tablets. He puts out the lamp. The house is quiet. He goes to bed. Chapter 4, The Assembly. The Forum before the vote. Cold morning. October cold, which is different from winter cold. Sharper. The stones still wet from the night. The smell of the river from the west. Old stone and cold mud and the smell of bread. From somewhere beyond the south end of the square. The benches fill from the outside in. The men from the far districts come first. They walk through the dark to be here. Some of them since before dawn. Some of them since yesterday, sleeping one night on the road. They sit in the cold and wait. They know how to wait. They have come far enough that they have committed to the outcome. They will not leave before. The men from the nearby streets come last. They arrive in groups, by quarter. Some of them know each other. They talk. Some of them have decided. Some of them are still weighing. Tiberius is already there. He is always early. This is something that came from Numantia, from the habit of arriving at a position before the day requires anything of it. Look at the ground before the ground becomes the problem. He does this at dinner parties and morning meetings. Now at the forum on the day of his own election. He stands at the edge of the speaking area. He watches the square fill. He can smell the crowd now. Woolen, cold stone and the particular morning smell of a city that has not yet started the second thing. He counts the exits. 3 visible from where he stands. The temple portico on the north side. Past the rostra where the south road opens. The narrow gap on the far left between the old record buildings. He cannot stop doing this. He has tried. He has been trying since Numantia. He learned there that knowing where to go is something you want to know before you need it. The candidates are announced. 10 names for 10 tribunal positions. The herald reads them the way heralds read everything. One name after another. Equal weight on each syllable of each name. The official neutrality of a man who knows his job is the voice, not the opinion. The crowd listens differently to different names. Some names land flat. Some names cause small movements in the crowd. Not noise, just the way a field moves when the wind changes direction. A redistribution of attention. Tiberius Sempronius Gracchus. The crowd shifts. In the middle section, a group from the Aventine district makes a sound, not a cheer. Something more sustained. The sound of men who walked from a long distance and have been waiting for the sound to be made. Tiberius stands where he is supposed to stand. He is thinking about the woman at the well. He is thinking about what she said and what her face looked like. When she said it, she had the look of someone describing a fact so old that describing it felt almost redundant. Of course someone bought the farms. That is what happens to farms when the men go away. He is standing in the forum being elected to office and he is thinking about her face. He files it. He goes back to the forum. The voting takes the morning, tribe by tribe, the standard order. The commission moves at its own pace, which is deliberate and has been deliberate for 200 years. You do not rush the comitia. The comitia does not know how to be rushed. Tiberius stands where the candidates stand. He waits. He is good at waiting. He learned it from his mother, who could wait out a silence better than anyone he had ever met. He learned it from Numantia, where waiting was sometimes the only correct action. He learned it from Scaevola, who read a document end first, who did not speak until he had finished. 3 hours. The same square. The same stones. The same smell of bread from the south end. Different air. The votes are counted. The herald reads the results. Tiberius Sempronius Gracchus, tribune of the plebs. The forum makes its sound. Many people at once, each responding in a different direction, the whole becoming something singular. Not a cheer. Something larger and less organized. The sound of a thing that has moved. He stands in the middle of it. He is thinking about the field in Etruria. The slaves still in it at noon. Still there at evening. He will bring the law to the assembly as soon as the calendar allows. He finds Octavius afterward at the temple steps. Marcus Octavius, former tribune. They were students together under the same teachers. Same dinner parties for 15 years. Tiberius knows his face the way you know a face you have eaten beside since you were young. They walk a short distance. Neither of them speaks first. Tiberius says, "Will you support the land bill?" Octavius says, "I have not decided." Tiberius says, "That means no." Octavius says, "That is not what I said." There is a quality to his face that Tiberius has not seen before. Not hostility. Not sympathy. Something between the two that does not commit to either. It is a careful face. More careful than usual, which was already careful. They part at the corner. That afternoon Tiberius is with Appius. They go through the commission structure. Who will serve? How the districts will be assigned. The timeline. Octavius comes up. Appius says it the way he says most things. One sentence. Without emphasis. Without recommendation. He says, Octavius holds land. Tiberius looks at him. Appius says, public land. In Campania. I do not know the amount. More than 500 Iugera. He goes back to the commission structure. Tiberius notes it. He notes the fact of it. He notes the afternoon. He notes the 2 times Octavius's name has come up now. He will remember this afternoon for a long time. He does not know that yet. Chapter 5. That evening, the house on the Palatine is quiet when he arrives. The fire is going. Gaius is at the table. He has his tablets and his stylus. The look of someone who has been at this for a while. Who plans to stay. Gaius is 20 years old. He has his mother's stillness when he is listening to something. He has something else when he is talking. Different from his mother's stillness the way a river is different from a lake. Both of them are water. They do not work the same way. He looks up when Tiberius comes in. He looks at his brother for a moment without speaking. Tiberius sits down. Gaius goes back to his tablets. He says, Tribune. Tiberius says, yes. The fire makes it sound. Gaius writes something. Outside the Palatine has the particular quiet of early evening before the night sounds start. Gaius puts the stylus down. He says, "When does the law go? To the assembly?" Tiberius says, "As soon as the calendar allows." Gaius nods. He picks up the stylus. He puts it down again. He says, "I read the draft. Scaevola version. Corrections." Tiberius says, "When?" Gaius says, "Last week." Tiberius looks at him. Gaius looks back. He is not apologizing. He does not look like someone who has done something wrong. He looks like someone who prepared for a conversation he knew was coming, and does not feel the need to explain why. He says, "The commission structure is strong. The appeal process is where they will push." Tiberius says, "I know." Gaius says, "Scaevola's timeline is too short. 30 days for appeals is not enough for rural holdings where the survey records are incomplete." Tiberius says, "I extended it. 60 days. Gaius nods. He picks up the stylus again. This is the first practical conversation they have had about the law itself. Not the philosophy. Not the argument. The structure. What holds and what does not. Tiberius files this. His brother has been paying attention for longer than he realized. He has not been loudly preparing. He has been quietly reading and not mentioning it until the moment. The mentioning was useful. He is not his brother. He is the other version of the same material. Cornelia comes in. She sits across from him. She looks at him for a moment. She already knows how the vote went. She has known since midday. She did not ask. She waited for him to come home. She says, "Have you eaten?" He says, "No." She goes. He sits in this room. His father's chair. His mother's house. The same house where Blasius came on Tuesdays and a 6-year-old. Tiberius spoke to the wall. The practice was for this. He knows this now. He always suspected it. Now he knows. They eat. Not much conversation. Gaius talks enough for the table. Yes. An opinion about the Pontifex Maximus's involvement and whether it complicates or helps the calendar question. He has an opinion about Appius and what Appius's support will cost when the thing is done. He has opinions the way some people have appetites. He eats through all of it. Tiberius eats steadily. Not much. He puts his utensils down before he is finished. Cornelia notices this. She has noticed it since he was 7. He does it when he is somewhere else in his mind. After Gaius goes to his room, Cornelia stays. The fire is lower. She says, "The Senate will move against it." He says, "Yes." She says, "How fast?" He says, "Before the first reading if they can arrange it." She looks at the fire. She has been sitting in this room for 26 years. She has sat in it while her husband made decisions. While she made decisions. While 9 children died. While 2 more grew into something she cannot fully predict, which she considers an achievement. She says, "Your father would have negotiated first." He says, "I know." She says, "I am not telling you to." He looks at her. She is already looking at the fire. She said what she needed to say. 1 sentence. The sentence was a fact and a warning and not a recommendation. She has finished with it. He understands. He has been watching her do this his whole life. Say the thing. Mean it completely. Then stop. He says, "Octavius holds public land." She is quiet. He says, "In Campania. Appius told me this afternoon." She is still quiet. She is filing it. He can see her doing it. He goes to bed. Cornelia stays. The fire is almost gone. She thinks about what she said. Your father would have negotiated. It was true. It was not advice. A fact she needed to say out loud. Before he was too far into it to hear it. She knows her son's mind. Since he was 6. He has the numbers. He has the law. He has 3 careful men who said yes. He has a brother who read the draft without being told. She knows also that none of this is enough by itself. The Senate does not lose arguments because the argument is wrong. The Senate loses arguments when the men on the other side are willing to go further than the Senate expected. Tiberius is precise. He is exact. He has the argument. Precise men have the argument. And they hold it. The Senate is good at finding where the precise man will not go. She thinks about Octavius. She does not know why she is thinking about him. She met him once 2 years ago at a dinner for a returned governor. A careful young man. Polite. The kind of careful that is also a strategy. She does not know why he is in her mind. She files it. This is what she does with things she does not know why she is thinking about. She puts them somewhere she can reach. Later. The fire is out now. She did not tend it. She thinks about the woman at the well in Etruria. She has not seen her. Tiberius described her. But she is in this room. She has been in this room since Tiberius came home from Spain. The woman who brought water to a stranger without being asked, who named the name on the farms, who stood a little straighter when Tiberius used her name at the end of the sentence. That woman is the reason the law exists. She does not know that. She will never know it. Cornelia sits in the dark for a while. Then she goes to bed. Chapter 6, The Count. He started counting before Arretium. The road from the north comes down into Etruria through a pass, where the hills are close on both sides. Good land on the valley. 4. Deep soil. The kind of dark, wet soil that holds water into summer. That produces grain through the dry months if properly managed. He had ridden this road before. In his 20s, going north to join Scipio's staff for a training campaign. He remembered the farms. The specific memory was imprecise as old memories are, but he had an impression. Kitchen gardens. Orchards. The kind of evidence that a family has been in a place long enough to plant things for their grandchildren. What he saw now was different. He could not say exactly when it had changed. He had not been watching for it. He began watching from Arretium south. He counted what he saw. By the time he reached the first well town, he had a list. 14 farms visible from the road. Of those 14, 9 were worked by gang labor. 6 to 20 slaves each. No. Free farmers visible in the fields or the buildings. The farmhouses. On these 9 had a quality of disuse. Still standing. Not lived in. The way people live in a place they have decided to stay. 3 farms were vacant. The land worked to the boundary and no farther. Someone collecting the profit without being present. 2 farms had families on them. Small holdings. The kind that could still feed a family if the year was good. He noted them. Specifically. They were the exception now. He wrote the count on a tablet as he rode. He kept doing this. Village to village. Well to well. The numbers are not a surprise to him. Blasius has been describing this for years. The census data from the last count confirms it in the aggregate. The rate of small landholding among Roman citizens has been declining for 30 years. But aggregate numbers are one kind of thing. Riding through them is another. He stops on a ridge between 2 towns and looks at the valley below. From here, on a clear morning, you can see perhaps a dozen farms. He identifies the holding pattern from the ridge, which are the consolidated estates, which have the slave labor line, which are the 2 still occupied family farms at the near end. He does this the way he learned to read terrain in Numantia, from elevation before you descend, so you know the shape of what you are walking into. The shape here is this: the valley is almost entirely in the hands of perhaps 4 men. One of them is a senator whose name Tiberius knows from debates. Another is the name the woman at the well will tell him a little farther down the road. He knows this before she says it. He rides down anyway. He wants to hear her say it. The second well town has 10 houses. He has already noted from the ridge that 3 of them are empty. The same size. Garden plots left to run. A door standing open. The particular look of a place that was lived in and is not now. He stops at the well. He waters the horse. He takes water himself. He asks the man who comes out the same question he has asked at every previous stop. Whose land is this? What happened to the families that were here? The man gives the same answer he has heard before. Different names. The same shape. He hands back the cup. He rides on. He adds the name to the list. By the time he sees Rome below him, he has been counting for 3 days. The list has names. It has approximate holdings. It has the number of farms he saw from the road versus the number that had families on them. The ratio is not flattering to the argument that this was natural, that it had happened gradually, that it was not worth a formal problem. The ratio is roughly what Blasius predicted from the census data. Tiberius had hoped Blasius was overestimating. He was not overestimating. He was, if anything, conservative. The actual situation visible from the road is worse than the aggregate numbers suggested. The aggregate smooths things. The road does not smooth anything. He puts the tablet away. He knows what the law needs to say. He knew before he left Spain. The ride through Etruria confirmed. What he has now that he did not have before is the face. The woman at the well. Her look when she told him whose name was on the farms. Not angry. Not surprised. The look of someone who has understood the situation for years. Who has made peace with it because peace was the only option available. He has not made peace with it. He is 26 years old and he has not made peace with it. And that is the difference. Chapter 7. Scaevola's Method. Scaevola's office smells of old papyrus and lamp oil. Every surface has something on it. Not disorder. Layered order. The kind of organization that looks chaotic to someone who does not understand the system. Perfectly clear to the person who built it. The papers on the left desk are active cases. The papers on the right desk are precedents. The floor under the window has the things he is done with but not ready to file. He has been practicing law for 35 years. He has opinions about how law works that he does not share with people he does not respect. He shares them with Tiberius. He explains the method. It is not the method taught in the schools. The schools teach rhetoric first, how to make the argument sound, how to frame it, what the judges respond to. This is useful knowledge in Scaevola. Does not dispute it, but it is not where he starts. He starts with the question of what the law is actually doing, not what it says, what it does, in practice, to the people it applies to and the people it doesn't apply to. He says, a law is a machine. It has moving parts. The parts interact. Some of those interactions are what the author intended. Some of them are what the author created without meaning to. You need to know both before you can decide whether the machine does what you want. Tiberius writes this down. He says, how do you see the unintended parts? Scaevola says, look at who benefits from the law as written, not as intended. If someone benefits who was not supposed to benefit, you have found an unintended part. Follow it. Tiberius writes this down too. They spend 3 evenings on the draft. The first evening is problems. Scaevola lists what he found. Tiberius writes. He does not argue. He has learned when arguments delay and when they advance. This is a listening evening. The second evening is Tiberius's answers. He has had 3 days to revise. He brings the revised version. Scaevola reads it from the end as he always reads, then from the front. He puts it down. He says, the appeals process is better. He says nothing else for a moment. Then he says, the improvements question is still not resolved. Tiberius says, what would resolve it? Scaevola says, a separate clause. Specific compensation for permanent improvements, house construction, planted orchards, established wells, not for the land itself, for the labor put into the land. Tiberius says, that will weaken the principle. Scaevola says, it will strengthen the law. He looks at Tiberius. The principle is already sound, he says. The Licinian law is valid. Redistribution of illegally held public land is within the legal power of the tribunate. This is not a question. What is a question is whether the law survives its first 20 cases. If the cases are complicated by improvements claims that have no legal resolution, the commission will bog down. The Senate will find the bog and expand it. They are very good at expanding. Bog. He picks up the draft. Add the improvements clause, he says. Give them a path to compensation that is specific and limited. Then the Senate loses that argument. The third evening Scaevola says yes. Not enthusiastically. Scaevola does not say yes enthusiastically. He says yes with the particular quality of a man who has examined a thing carefully and found it acceptable. He says, the principle is sound. The history is accurate. The legal basis is valid. The procedural structure will hold if the commission is careful. Then he says, it will be fought on everything except the merits. You understand this? Tiberius says, yes. Scaevola says, they will not argue that the Licinian law is invalid. They cannot. They will argue procedure, standing, timing, the composition of the commission, the definition of public land, in specific territories. Every argument will be a technical one. Tiberius says, that's what Appius said. Scaevola says, Appius is a politician. He means it as a warning. About resistance. I mean it as advice about preparation. You need an answer to every technical argument before they make it. You need to have thought of the problem before they raise it. He looks at the draft. There will be one you have not thought of, he says. There always is. When you find it, come back. He does not say, and I will help you. He has already said that. Tiberius leaves the office with 3 documents. The draft. Scaevola notes. His own list. The night is clear. The Palatine above him. The Forum below. The city doing what it does in the middle hours. The same thing it does at all other hours. But at a different volume. He walks home. He is thinking about what Scaevola said about the unintended parts. Every law has them. The parts that do something the author did not foresee. He is trying to see his own law clearly enough to find them. He cannot see them yet. He is too close to it. He has been too close to it since Etruria. Since the woman at the well and the name on the farms. Since the treaty and the Senate's answer to. You will see them later. He knows this about himself. The distance takes time. He walks home in the dark. 3 documents and a law he knows is right. And the beginning of a doubt about what right has to do with it. Chapter 8. The holders. Scipio Nazica called a dinner. Not a formal dinner. This distinction mattered. A formal dinner had a host and a stated purpose and could be reported accurately. Afterward, an informal dinner had participants who had agreed to be present and a conversation that happened to occur. He invited 7 men. Each of them held public land above the Licinian limit. Each of them had built on it, borrowed against it, or incorporated it into arrangements that were not easily reversible. Each of them already knew about the land bill. The word had moved through the city. The way words move among men who have something to lose, who are not yet certain how much. Nazica spoke first. He laid out the situation. The bill. Its 4 provisions. The commission structure. The likely timeline given the tribunician. Calendar and Crassus's involvement. He did not say, we need to stop this. He did not need to say this. He was speaking to 7 men who had each done the arithmetic. He said, we need to understand what we are dealing with. He said, the legal basis is legitimate. The Licinian law is on the books. We cannot argue it is not. Anyone who tries to argue this will lose the room. He said, the argument is about procedure, precedent, and stability. He said, the argument is that land reform of this scale threatens the order of the Republic. Implemented through the tribunate without full senatorial oversight. He believed this. He also held 4,000 Iugera. He had trained himself not to think about both things at the same time. He was good at this. He had been good at it for 20 years. The 7 men had 7 different calculations. One of them had borrowed heavily against the land value. The commission reached his holdings, the debt would exceed the remaining assets. 2 of them had inherited the land. They had not accumulated it themselves. They had received it as part of an estate and had managed it and improved it. They told themselves this was different. They were not accumulating. they were maintaining. One of them had bought into a holding arrangement with 3 partners. He could not extract himself without legal proceedings. One had planted and was waiting for an olive grove to come in. 7 years planted. 3 years from production. He was not thinking about the principle. 2 of them were simply wealthy and did not like being told they would be less wealthy. They all agreed with Nausicaa about the principle. They all thought the principle was correct. The principle was also convenient for them, which was not the same thing as it being wrong. They had not separated these 2 facts. They preferred not to. Nausicaa listed the technical arguments. The definition of public land in the Northern Territories, where the original survey records were incomplete. This was a real problem for the Commission and would slow any effort to apply the law in those territories. The standing of the tribunate to initiate land reform without senatorial approval. The historical precedent was ambiguous. A good lawyer could make a case in either direction. The composition of the commission. The bill is written aloud. The Land Reform Commission to be made up of the proposing tribune and his nominees. This was not impartial. A commission that answers to its own chairman is not a commission. The appeals process. 30 days. Extended to 60 in the revised draft. Nausicaa said, 60 days is not enough for rural properties, where the survey disputes are documented. He said, we press every one of these points. Not all of them will hold, but each one that holds delays the commission. And delays are the only tool available. One of the men said, what about a veto? Nausicaa said, that depends on who we can get. The room was quiet. They all understood what this meant. They were looking for a tribune who would vote against the land reform bill. One that would benefit the people who voted for tribunes. They needed a tribune who had a reason other than the people's interest. They needed a tribune who held land. The dinner ended at the 2nd hour past dark. The men went home different ways. Not in a group. This was understood without being said. Nausicaa stayed after the others left. He sat with a lamp and the draft bill in his notes. He read through the technical objections again. Each one was real. Each one would require time to resolve in the commission. Time was the resource. He thought about the veto. He had a name. Not firm. Not committed. A name that might work if the approach was right. He thought, everything I have said tonight is true. He thought, the precedent is real. The stability argument is real. A tribunate that can initiate major property redistribution without senatorial oversight is a changed tribunate. Once the precedent exists, it can be used again. By anyone. For anything. He thought, and I hold 4,000 Iugera. He put both thoughts away. He chose the one he preferred. Men always do. Chapter 9, A Careful Man. Marcus Octavius has been a tribune before. 1 term. 2 years ago. He did what tribunes do. He attended the sessions. He voted on the bills. He raised 2 procedural objections that were both correct and well argued. He did not propose any legislation himself. He came to the end of his term with a reputation for reliability. A network of men who considered him sound. He is sound. He knows this about himself. It is not a boast. It is a careful assessment. He is 28 years old and he knows his own qualities. Clearly. He knows his strengths. He knows the limits of his strengths. He knows which rooms he is useful in and which rooms he is not. This kind of self-knowledge is rare and valuable. It has served him well. He does not know yet that he is about to be asked to do something. Something that requires a different kind of knowledge. He holds public land in Campania. The holding came through his uncle. An estate arrangement in which Octavius took a parcel in exchange for a debt cleared 10 years ago. He has not done anything unusual with it. He has not consolidated it or borrowed against it or expanded it. He holds 340 Iugera, below the 500 limit. Technically legal. He tells himself this because it is true. It is also the smaller truth. The larger truth is that the Land Reform Commission, if it proceeds, will examine his holding. Will find the deed. It will examine the original transaction. The Original transaction has some features that a careful lawyer could make complicated. He tells himself the commission will find the holding technically legal and move on. He believes this. He is not certain. The uncertainty is small, but it is there in the place where the careful man keeps the things he has not fully resolved. He sees Tiberius at the Senate steps. They have known each other since they were students. Different teachers but overlapping dinners, overlapping families, overlapping circles of people who know each other's names. Tiberius walks up the steps. Octavius is standing there. They had not planned to speak. The moment arranges itself. Tiberius says, "I wanted to ask about the bill." Octavius says, "I know." He does not say more than this. He has been thinking about what he would say when this moment arrived. He has not settled on it. Tiberius says, "I would like your support." Octavius says, "I understand what you are doing." He means this. He does understand. He has read the bill. He knows the Licinian law. He knows the numbers Tiberius is working from. He agrees the land consolidation is a problem. He also knows that a vote for this bill would require candor. Given what he holds, given the questions around the original transaction, he has not decided he is ready for that candor. He says, "I will think about it." Tiberius looks at him. The look is brief. Tiberius does not push. He has learned when pushing opens a door and when it closes one. They part. Octavius goes home. He sits in his study. The lamp, the papyrus, the door closed. He thinks about the bill. He thinks about what he said. He thinks about Tiberius's face as they parted. He is a careful man. Careful men do not make decisions in the first hour. They gather information. They consider the angles. They make sure they understand what they are deciding before they decide it. He thinks, what would I need to know to make this decision? He thinks, I would need to know what the commission would find when it reached my holding. I would need to know whether the original transaction would be a problem. I would need to know whether supporting the bill would help or harm my situation. These are reasonable things to want to know. They are also not the question. The question is simpler. It is what he is not quite thinking. He thinks about it from the corner. The way you think about a bright thing you cannot quite look at directly. He puts the lamp out. He goes to bed. He will think more about it tomorrow. He does think about it the next morning. He wakes before light. This is not unusual for him. He wakes early and thinks before the day requires anything of him. Is how he has managed most of the decisions in his life. The space before the noise starts. He lies in the dark and thinks about the question he would not look at directly. The question is this: if the land commission reaches his holding and finds the original transaction problematic, what happens? The transaction was 10 years ago. The debt it settled was his uncle's. The arrangement was legal, but it had a layer of complexity that a commissioner looking for problems could use. He could not be certain they would find it. He could not be certain they would not. This is the uncertainty. 340 Iugera. Below. The limit. The original transaction with its one complicated layer. A commission composed of Tiberius's nominees. He thinks Tiberius would not use the commission that way. He thinks, I believe this about Tiberius. He thinks, but Tiberius will not always be the one who controls the commission. Someone else will read the records eventually. Someone less careful about what they use and what they do not. He thinks, this is the calculation I am making, whether to acknowledge it or not. He gets up. He goes to his desk. He sits for a long time without writing anything. Then he writes a letter to a lawyer he knows, asking about the specific legal question, not about the bill, about the original transaction. He sends the letter. He does not know what the answer will be. He goes to the forum. He tells himself he has not decided yet. This is true, and it is not true. He will understand which one. It is when the moment arrives. Chapter 10, the first reading. The morning of the first reading smells of cold stone and bread. Early winter. The forum fills from the edges. The usual crowd. And then more than the usual crowd. The word has moved farther than Tiberius expected. Men from the Aventine, men from the Iugera, men from outside the city, from the nearer towns, who heard that something was happening and came to see. The bill will be read for the first time today. This is how it works. A tribune proposes a bill. It is read to the assembly. 3 readings on 3 separate days. Then the vote. This is the first day. Tiberius arrives early. He is always early. He counts the exits. 3 visible from where he stands. The temple on the north side. The gap past the rostra. The narrow opening between the old record buildings on the left. He has been counting exits in this forum since he was a child. It is not fear. It is information. Good information is what you have before the situation requires it. He watches the crowd. The crowd is different today. He has stood in this forum for elections, for judicial proceedings, for the ordinary business of the city. He knows its rhythms, the way it moves, the density of it at different hours. Today the density is higher than it should be for a first reading. First readings are procedure. Most people wait for the third reading for the vote. Coming to a first reading means you came for the argument, not the outcome. The crowd came for the argument. He speaks for 40 minutes, not the law itself. The reading is procedural. What he speaks is the argument. Why this law? Why now? The Licinian precedent. The census numbers. The farms he rode through in Etruria. He does not mention the woman at the well by name. He has thought about this. He will not make her specific. She is the point of the argument, but she is not the argument. The argument is the numbers, the law, the Licinian precedent. But he sees her face while he speaks. He has been seeing her face since Etruria. You will see it for a long time after this day. The crowd is quiet while he speaks. Not the quiet of indifference. The quiet of people who are deciding whether they agree. Who are listening to see if the argument matches the shape of what they know. He can feel this. He has spoken before crowds before. He knows the difference. They match. He can feel it. The argument and the crowd's shape. They are the same thing from 2 different directions. After the reading, the Senate section moves. Not toward him. Away. In the particular way of men who have heard what they expected. Who are now going to arrange what comes next. He watches them go. He has counted. 14 senators left their benches before he finished speaking. 2 of them left together. They did not look at each other when they left. They were careful about this. He notes it. He is about to speak to Appius about the commission structure. When someone comes beside him. Not Appius. Not Scaevola. A man he does not know well. 40 years old. A name from a good family with no particular history of political positions. He says, there will be a veto. Tiberius says, from who? The man says, I don't know the name yet. Someone has been making conversations. He moves away. Tiberius stands where he is. He thinks about the conversations that do not get names yet. He thinks about who has been at dinner tables and in private rooms and making the arrangement. He thinks about Octavius. He puts it away. He is not sure yet. He will not act on a thought he is not sure of. He goes to find Appius. That evening he is late getting home. The house is quiet when he arrives. His mother's lamp in the study window. Gaius already asleep. The fire in the main room, lower than usual. He sits for a moment. He thinks about the crowd today. The density of it. The quality of the quiet while he spoke. These are good signs. These are the signs of a proposal that has touched something the city has been carrying. He thinks about the senators who left before he finished. He thinks about the veto rumor. He does not have enough information yet to know what to do with the veto rumor. He files it in the place where he keeps things. He does not have enough information for yet. He will wait. The fire goes lower. He has learned how to wait. His mother comes to the doorway. She has her lamp. She looks at him. She does not ask how it. What? She already knows. She has known since midday. Cornelia always knows before he tells her. He says, The crowd was different today. She says, I know. Sempronia watched from the south in trance. He says, the senators left before I finished. 14. She says, I know that too. He looks at her. She says, I asked her to count them. And note the order. He is quiet for a moment. Then he says, Octavius came after. Before anyone else. She nods. He says, he said he has not decided. But he has. She is still. He says, he has not said veto. She says, he will. He says, I know. She stands in the doorway for a moment more. She says, get some sleep. The revision work starts tomorrow. She goes back to her study. He sits alone. The city outside. The Tiber. Iron on stone somewhere in the dark below the hill. He thinks about the woman at the well. He thinks about the name she said. He thinks about the crowd today. The quality of the quiet. The way it matched the argument. He has been carrying this for months. The theory and then Etruria and then the law and now the office and now the reading. He is closer than he has ever been. He also knows what Appius knows. What his mother knows. What Gaius knows. He knows what is coming. He puts out the lamp. He goes to bed. He sleeps the way he has always slept. So, one arm across his chest. Organized even in the dark. Even when everything outside the room is not organized and will not be. The city keeps going. It does not wait for the things being decided inside it. It never does. Chapter 11, Revisions. The second reading is 12 days away. Tiberius spends them working. He goes to Scaevola twice. He revises the appeals process again. 60 days becomes 90 for holdings above 300 Iugera, where the survey disputes are more likely. He adds a specific process for contested boundaries in the northern territories, where the original survey records are incomplete. He adds the improvements clause, specific compensation for permanent construction on the land, not for the land itself, for the structure built on it. He closes the definition of public land in border territories. He does not close it entirely. The territory is genuinely complicated, but he narrows the ambiguity. Each revision is a technical argument removed from the Senate's arsenal. He is trying to remove all of them before the second reading. He knows he will not succeed entirely. Scaevola told him there would be one he has not thought of. He has not found it yet. This does not mean it is not there. Gaius reads the revised draft on the fourth day. He has not been asked to. He has been sitting across the table while Tiberius revises, reading over his shoulder. Tiberius has noticed and said nothing about it. On the fourth day, Gaius picks up the draft while Tiberius is out of the room. When Tiberius comes back, Gaius is at the table, draft in hand, stylus, several new marks on the wax. Tiberius sits across from him. He says, "What did you find?" Gaius says, "The definition of public land in Latium relies on a survey from 140 years ago. The survey has been disputed twice since then. Neither dispute was formally resolved. Someone can raise the unresolved status." Tiberius looks at him. Gaius says, "It's the one you haven't found." Tiberius looks at the relevant clause. He reads it twice. Gaius is right. He goes to Scaevola that afternoon. Scaevola reads the clause. He reads it twice. He sets it down. He says, "How long has he been reading your drafts?" Tiberius says, "A while." Scaevola says, "He is going to be better at this than you are." Tiberius says, "I know." Scaevola says, "That is a useful thing for you to know. Some men find it difficult." Tiberius says, "He is my brother." Scaevola says, "Yes. And he will be better at this than you." These are two separate facts. You need both of them. He picks up his pen. "The Latium clause," he says. "We add a validating reference to the most recent senatorial record on the disputed survey. That's from 60 years ago. The record acknowledges the dispute and closes it provisionally. It is not a perfect resolution, but it is a recorded resolution, which means the argument shifts. They are no longer raising an unresolved dispute. They are challenging a recorded senatorial determination. He writes for a few minutes. Here, he says, add this language. Tiberius copies it down. He goes back home. He adds the language. He reads the whole thing again from the end. Scaevolus method. He finds two small problems of his own that he fixes before. He puts the tablets down. He works late that night. The house is quiet. Gaius has gone to bed. Cornelia's lamp is. The fire has come down to coals. He reads the whole law again. From end to beginning. Then from beginning to end. He knows every word of it now. He has read it so many times the words have separated from their meaning. They have become something more like music. Familiar patterns. Clause in its place. He reads it anyway. This is not obsession. It is the method. You read it again because the problem you have not found is still there waiting for the right angle. You cannot find what you are looking for. You find what you were not looking for. He finds a small problem in the definition of citizen eligibility for redistribution. A man who left Roman citizenship for a Latin alliance and then returned. The clause as written would exclude him. He adds a line. 2 sentences. The problem closes. He finds a question about the timeline for commission reports. The bill requires annual reports to the assembly, but it does not specify what happens if the commission fails to produce one. He adds a consequence. A fine. Specific enough to be real. Small enough not to be the fight. He puts the tablets down. 12 days. He has been working for 12 days on a draft. That took 6 weeks to produce. The revisions are now longer than the original draft. He thinks, this is what the law requires. Not the original idea. Anyone can have the original idea. This is the part that requires the hours. He sits for a moment. He thinks about what Scaevola said. He is going to be better at this than you are. He thinks, yes, he probably will. He thinks good. He puts out the lamp. Chapter 12, the second reading. The second reading is colder. December now. The forum has the specific cold of open stone. In winter air. The smell of the river stronger than usual. Cold mud and fast water. The particular gray of a sky that has decided about cloud but not yet about rain. The crowd is smaller. He had expected this. The first reading draws the curious. The second reading draws the committed. A smaller crowd is not a bad sign. It is a different sign. These are people who came. He reads the revised bill. He reads it cleanly. No argument. No speech. The bill itself. What it says and what it does. He has been working on this language for 6 weeks. He knows every word. He reads as if he is reading something he is hearing for the first time. This is a skill Diophanes gave him. Read what is written, not what you remember. After the reading, Octavius finds him. Not after. Immediately after. He was waiting. He says, I have decided. Tiberius says, tell me. Octavius says, I cannot support the bill. He says it evenly. Without hostility. Without the particular heaviness of a man who feels guilty about what he is saying. He has made a decision and the decision is made and he is stating it. Tiberius says, why? Octavius says, the precedent. A bill of this size, this scope, pushed through by a single tribunate without full senatorial deliberation. It is too much power in too small a space. Tiberius says, the Licinian law is valid. This is enforcement. Octavius says, I know the argument. I do not accept it as sufficient. They stand in the forum. The crowd is moving around them. Cold stone and river smell and the sound of a city that has not stopped for this conversation. Tiberius says, you hold land. Octavius says, that has nothing to do with my position. Tiberius looks at him. He is not angry. He is precise. There is a difference. He says, I know. He walks away. He goes home. He sits in the room he has sat in since he was 6 years old. He thought it was a room then. He knows now it is the place he comes when he needs to think without an audience. He thinks about the veto. Octavius has said he cannot support the bill. He has not said. He will veto it. The veto is a separate step. A tribune who opposes a bill can vote against it. A tribune who vetoes it blocks the assembly from voting at all. These are different things. He does not know yet which one Octavius will do. He thinks about the man he saw at the temple steps. The way he said it, evenly, not apologetically. A decision made and stated. Octavius is a careful man. Careful men do not act beyond their stated position without a reason to go further. Someone will give him the reason. Cornelia is in the study when he passes. She looks at him. She has a quality of looking that is not intrusive. She looks and then she waits. He stops. He says, "Octavius." She says, "Yes." He says, "He won't support it." She is quiet. He says, "I don't know yet if he'll veto." She says, "You know the answer." He looks at her. She says, "You knew it at the Senate steps. You told me about the land that same evening. You already know the answer." He goes to his room. She is right. He already knows the answer. He is not ready to know it yet. He walks home through the forum. Cold December. The stones wet from an afternoon rain that had come and gone before he noticed it. Wet stone in the river. The particular early evening smell of charcoal fires starting in the houses on the hill. He walks through the middle of the forum. Not the edge. It usually takes the edge where the crowd is thinner. Tonight he walks through the center. He does not know why. He will think about it later. He looks at the rostra, the speaking platform. He has stood on it twice now in the last month. He will stand on it again. For the third reading. Then the vote. He thinks about what Octavius said. He said it without hostility. Without the particular heaviness of a man delivering news he feels guilty about. He said it the way you state a position you have reached carefully and are confident in. He thinks, that is the most difficult kind of no to argue with. An angry no can be talked around. An uncertain no can be given time. A confident, considered no has a quality that closes the air around it. He thinks about the land in Campania. 340. Iugera. Below the limit. Technically legal. The original transaction with the questions around it. He thinks, Octavius has made a calculation. His no is about the calculation. What he said about precedent is true. He believes it. But the calculation and the belief are not separate. This is the thing he cannot say out loud. Not yet. Not without more certainty. Not without a record. He walks home. Gaius is at the table when he arrives. He has his notes from today. The arrivals, the seating, the one man who left alone. He looks up when Tiberius comes in. He does not ask. He has learned when his brother needs the room to be quiet for a few minutes. Tiberius sits. He looks at the fire. Gaius waits. Then Tiberius says, "Octavius." After the reading, Gaius says, "I saw. I was watching from the northeast corner. He went to you immediately." Tiberius says, "He has decided not to support it." Gaius is quiet. Tiberius says, "He has not said veto yet. He said he cannot support it." Gaius says, "He will veto." Tiberius looks at him. Gaius says, "He held position through the whole speech. It stayed past the point where the others left. He wanted to hear the full argument before he made his decision. He has made it." Tiberius says, "Yes." Gaius says, "What do you do?" Tiberius says, "Wait for the third reading. See what he says." Gaius looks at his notes. He says, "And if he vetoes?" Tiberius does not answer. The fire makes its sound. Gaius goes back to his notes. Tiberius sits with the question. Chapter 13, 6 weeks. The law took 6 weeks to write. Not the idea. The idea came from Blasius 10 years ago, refined by years of reading and a road through Etruria. The idea was fast. The law was different. A law is not an idea. It is a machine with moving parts. Each part has to do the right thing in the right conditions. The wrong thing has to be made impossible or at least made visible. Tiberius had learned this from Scaevola in the first session. He had learned the harder version of it in the weeks that followed. He wrote in the mornings. He revised in the evenings. He slept badly and rose early and went back to the tablets. The first draft ran to 7 sections. He threw out 3 of them. Not because they were wrong. Because they were solving problems that did not exist yet and creating complications that did. Do not write law for the situation you are afraid of. You write it for the situation you are in. The hypothetical complications can be addressed in amendments when the hypotheticals become real. Scaevola had told him this on the second evening. He had said, "Your instinct is to close every gap. This is wrong. Closing every gap creates a document that is too complex to read clearly. The gaps that are not immediate. Address the ones that are." Tiberius had argued. Scaevola had waited. The argument ended. He threw out 3 sections. The law was 4 sections. The commission structure took the most time. A commission of 3 men. This was the working proposal. 3 meant it could resolve disagreements by vote. 3 meant no single commissioner could block the others. 3 meant the work could be divided geographically. But who were the 3 men? The bill as first written was silent on this. Scaevola saw the gap immediately. He said, "If you leave the commission composition to the assembly vote, the Senate will maneuver the votes. Need to specify the method of selection." He specified that the commission would be elected by the assembly. Then he specified that the sitting tribunes could nominate the candidates. Then he specified that a commissioner could not be a senator. The Senate would see every one of these specifications as an act. They were not attacks. They were protections. But from a certain direction, protection and attack looked the same. He added the specifications. He knew what they would be called. He wrote them in anyway. The improvements clause came on the 4th week. He had resisted it. He had told Scaevola the principle was clear. Land held above the legal limit was public land. No compensation for illegally held land. Scaevola set the tablets down and looked at him. He says, "A man holds 300 Iugera, 20 years, a farmhouse, a well, a small barn." He says, "An orchard. His son was born on this land." He says, "The commission comes. They take the land. What happens to the house? The orchard? The son?" Tiberius says, "The house stays. The well stays. The orchard stays. The family can use the improvements on the redistributed land. The new holder gets the land with the improvements." Scaevola says, "And the old holder?" Tiberius says, "Gets the legal 30 Iugera along with everyone else." Scaevola says, "And the 20 years of labor? The investment? The orchard he will not see produce again." Tiberius was quiet. Scaevola says, "I am not asking you to compensate illegal holding. I'm asking you to acknowledge something. A man can make improvements on land he held in good faith, under a law that was not being enforced. Acknowledging this is not weakness. It is precision. Precision is what makes the law survive." Tiberius wrote the clause on the 5th week. He read the final version on the last night of the 6th week. Tablets. The city outside his window in the late hours. He read it from end to beginning the way Scaevola had taught him, looking for what the document was trying to prove. Then, from beginning to end, looking at how it tried to prove it. The principle, the Licinian law, was valid. The public land limit was 500 Iugera. Land above the limit was not legally held and was subject to return. The mechanism, a 3-person commission, elected by the assembly, to identify holdings, verify surveys, manage redistribution. The process, appeals within 90 days for holdings above 300 Iugera. Specific procedures for disputed surveys in Northern Territories. Compensation for permanent improvements. The distribution, plots of 30 Iugera per citizen. Non-saleable. He read it twice. He found 2 small problems. He fixed them. He put the tablets down. He thought, this is sound. The argument is sound. The legal basis is sound. The mechanism will work if the commission is careful. He also thought, the Senate is going to fight this with everything. As both things. At the same time. He put out the lamp. Chapter 14. What she wrote. Cornelia writes letters in the evenings. She has always written letters. Since she was young enough to be taught by Diophanes, who had opinions about what Latin could and could not do, who made her test both theories. She writes to friends in other cities. She writes to people she wants to remember things to. She writes to Sempronia about things she does not say at dinner. This autumn she is also writing letters she does not send. Not drafts. Not practice. Full letters, addressed, written out. Carefully. She sets them aside. She will decide later whether they should go. Sometimes she decides they should not. She keeps them anyway. The written thing is different from the thought. It is smaller and more precise. She can look at it. She is watching her son become the man she thought he would become. This is not a comfortable thing to watch. She had thought he would become this man. She had suspected it. For years. She had put the census documents on his desk when he was 14 and Blasius had explained the land. She had watched him read the numbers and ask the right questions. She had known from that reading that this was a person who would not let the knowing stop. Most people let the knowing stop. They learn about a problem. They feel the weight of it. They go on to the next thing because the next thing is what is in front of them. He does not do this. She has watched it since he was a child. He picks up a fact, and he carries it until something is done about it. The carrying cost him something. She has watched it cost him something. She has watched it cost him the treaty, the Senate's goodwill, years of political positioning he could have had. She does not think the cost is too high. She thinks about whether she should think the cost is too high. She writes to a friend in Cumae. She says, "My son has written a land reform bill. It is good law. He has been careful about it. He had the right help. I have read the final version. The Licinian precedent is solid. The mechanism is well designed. The commission structure is thoughtful." She says, "Rome will fight it." She says, "I do not know how far the fighting will go." She stops. She looks at the wall. She writes, "I have known this was coming since he was 14. I put the books on his desk. I chose Blasius as his teacher. I let him ride to Spain and back through Etruria. I knew what he would see when he rode through. I did not stop any of it. I did not want to stop any of it." She writes, "I want to tell you what kind of courage this requires, but I do not know yet whether I have it." She stops again. She folds the letter. She sets it aside. She will not send it yet. Maybe not at all. Gaius comes in at the second hour past dark. He has been at the forum. He does this in the evenings now when there are sessions or informal conversations worth watching. He has Tiberius's habit of arriving early, but for a different reason. Tiberius arrives early to count the exits and assess the ground. Gaius arrives early to watch the room fill and see who enters. With whom? He sits across from his mother. He says, "Octavius was at the third session of the commission. Discussion today." She says, "Listening or talking?" He says, "Listening." He stayed until the end. He asked one question about the survey records in Campania. She is quiet. He says, "Why does he care about the survey records in Campania?" She says, "What did you find out?" He says, "He holds land there." She says, "Yes." He looks at her. He says, "You knew." She says, "Your brother told me." He says, "And?" She says, "And we wait." He looks at the letters on her desk. He does not ask what they are. He has his mother's respect for the things on a person's desk at night. He goes to bed. She stays. She is not afraid. This is the thing she examines in the evenings when the house is quiet. Whether the feeling she has is fear. It is not. Is something more precise than fear. Fear has a general quality. It fills the space available to it. What she has is specific. She knows exactly what she is concerned about. She can see the shape of it. She can describe it, has described it in the letter. She will not send yet. She knows her son is going to push this law through the assembly. She knows the Senate is going to fight it. She knows the fighting will find the edge of what is legally possible. The Senate always goes slightly past it. She knows that the men who go past the legal edge are almost never held accountable for it. And she knows that the men who push them to go past the edge often are. She knows all of this the way she has known things for 20 years. From watching, from reading, from the education of a woman who has lived at the center of Roman politics, who has never been permitted to act in it directly. She picks up her pen. She writes to Sempronia. She says, "Watch the forum tomorrow. Take note of who stands where. I want to know which senators leave before Tiberius finishes speaking." She folds it. She will send this one. Chapter 15. What Gaius saw. Gaius stands at the edge of the forum on the morning of the first reading. He is not in the center. He learned this from his mother, who had explained it when he was 11. You see more from the edge. The center shows you the front of things. The edge shows you the back. He has a good position. The northeast corner of the square, near the old record buildings. From here he can see the crowd coming in from 4 directions. He can see the speaking area. He can see the senator's section. Senators are not required to attend the assembly. When they come anyway, it is informative. He watches it fill. The crowd is larger than he expected. He had been watching the assemblies for 2 years. He has a sense of what the normal density is for different kinds of proceedings. A judicial hearing draws the curious. An election draws the committed. A land bill at first reading usually draws the interested, which is a smaller category. This is not a normal crowd. He watches the edges. The men from the far districts come early. Men he does not recognize, which means they came from outside the city. Farmers by the look of them. Men who work with their hands. The particular weathered look of people who spend most of their time outdoors. He thinks they came for this. They heard about the bill and they came from the country to hear the first reading. He thinks, my brother has not realized how large this is yet. He files it. He keeps watching. The senators arrive in groups. Not all of them. Many senators do not attend the assembly except when required. The ones who come today are the ones who have a position on what is about to happen. You can tell the position by the entrance. The men who support the bill come through the north entrance. 3 of them in a loose group talking. They sit in the front section. This is a statement. They want to be seen supporting from the front. The men who oppose the bill come through the south entrance. 7 of them in 2 separate groups that are careful not to arrive together. They sit in the middle section. Visible but not obviously positioned. He notes the arrivals. He notes the seating. He adds to the picture he has been building since Tiberius began the commission. Conversations. He counts 14 men who sit in the middle section. He counts 3 men who sit in the front. The front 3 are Appius and 2 others he recognizes as allied. The middle 14 are the ones to watch. His brother speaks. Gaius has heard him practice this speech. Not formally. Tiberius does not practice speeches formally. He thinks out loud when he is sure Gaius is not in the room. Gaius is often almost not in the room. The voice he hears now is different from the thinking aloud voice. The forum does something to it. The space demands a different register. Tiberius finds it without appearing to look for it. He is not his brother's type of speaker. He knows this. Tiberius works from the argument forward. He builds the case and then delivers it. The delivery has the quality of someone who has understood the thing completely. Explaining it costs no extra effort. Gaius works the other way. He builds the argument in the speaking of it. He finds out where he is going as he goes. This is frightening the first few times. After the first few times it becomes the thing that makes people lean forward. He does not do this today. He is not the speaker today. He watches instead. 14 senators leave before Tiberius finishes. He counts them. He notes the order. First the 2 who came in together. Then 4 more in 2 pairs. Then 1 alone. Then 3 together, which was not careful. Then 4 more in no particular arrangement. He counts the order because the order tells him something. The ones who leave first are the ones who have already decided. They left not because they needed to act. They left because they could not sit still while the argument was being made. The one who left alone is interesting. He is a man of about 40. A good family, no particular history. Of strong positions. He came in through the south entrance with the 14. He left in the middle of the speech. Not at the end. He left when he had heard what he needed to hear. Gaius does not know what he needed to hear. He files the face. You will find the name. After the reading, he finds a corner near the temple portico. He has his tablet. He writes down what he saw. The arrivals, the seating, the departures. The order of the departures. The man who left alone in the middle. The farmer-looking men from the country in the outer section. They stayed until the very end. Then they did not move for several minutes. As if the forum had become something different to them. He looks at his notes. He thinks, Tiberius does not know how large this has become. He also thinks, Tiberius knows exactly what he is doing. Whether the size of it is known to him or not, he will keep doing it. He folds his notes. He thinks about the man who left alone. He thinks about Octavius. He thinks, my brother sees the law. He sees it very clearly. He has spent 6 weeks making it as clear as possible. What he does not see as clearly is the room around the law. The people. The departures. The man who left in the middle. He thinks, I see the room. He wonders when the room and the law will need to talk to each other. He goes to find Tiberius. Chapter 16. The weight of the office. A tribune of the plebs has sacrosanctity. The word is Roman and old and means exactly what it sounds like. Sacred and untouchable. A tribune cannot be arrested. Cannot be indicted during his term. Cannot be physically harmed without the harmer becoming the enemy of the entire plebeian class. This is the protection. The protection comes with a reason. Tribunes exist because the plebeians needed someone who could not be intimidated into silence by the men with the power to intimidate. The sacrosanctity is the mechanism. It cannot be removed. It follows the office the way a shadow follows a person. Take the office, take the shadow. Tiberius knew all of this before he took the oath. What he did not know before he took the oath was the weight of it. The oath is taken in November before the outgoing tribunes hand over the records. It is brief, less than a minute. He speaks the words. The words are old and formal and have been spoken by men in this office for 300 years. He speaks them in the forum in front of the witnesses and the gods and the city. Then it is done. He is a tribune. He walks home through the forum. The same stones, the same smell of the river, the same merchants at their usual positions. The forum does not know what just happened. It always looks like this. He knows this about the forum now. You can become a tribune in it and it does not stop being itself. The city continues its business. He is different. Not in a way he can describe. He has been working toward this. For 6 months. He has had the law in his mind since Etruria. He has known what he intended to do with the office since before. He ran for it. But intention and office are different things. Intention is thought. Office is weight. He wakes the first morning of his tribunate and feels it. Not a physical sensation. Something more precise. The awareness that the city now has a position for him. That his moves are no longer personal. They are official. The law he has spent 6 weeks writing is not his proposal anymore. It is a tribune's proposal. The assembly that will vote on it is the sovereign assembly of the Roman people. The commission he will appoint is a commission with legal authority. He has picked up a large tool. He is about to find out if his hands are the right shape for it. He goes to his desk. He reads the law again. From end to beginning. From beginning to end. He finds nothing new wrong with it. He thinks good. This is good. This is what should happen. He thinks about the woman at the well in Etruria. The name she said. The man whose farms surrounded the village. He goes to the forum. The first act of his tribunate is a letter. He sends it to every member of the Land Reform Commission he has already nominated. It gives a date for the first meeting. It specifies the agenda. It tells them what documents to bring. He has been composing this letter in his head since the second week of writing the law. He knows exactly what it needs to say, and how long each part needs to be. He writes it in one sitting. He reads it once. He sends it. Then he sits at his desk. He has been moving toward this for 6 months. He is here now. The law is written. The office is his. The commission is named. The first reading is scheduled. He thinks, now comes the part one cannot control. He has controlled what he could control. The argument, the precedent, the legal structure, the commission composition, the improvements clause, the appeals process. He has removed every technical objection he found and Gaius found and Scaevola found. What he cannot control is what Rome will do with it. He knows Rome. He has known it since he was a child. He knows how it moves, how it deliberates, how it resists and how it accepts and how it will fight something it does not want to accept. He knows how these stories tend to end. He knows this and he goes back to the forum anyway. That afternoon he meets Appius. They walk the edge of the forum. This is something Appius does. He prefers the edge. He can see more from the edge and be seen less completely. In 40 years of Senate service, Appius has learned which conversations happen in the center, which ones happen at the edge. This one happens at the edge. Appius says, they are looking for someone. Tiberius says, for a veto. Appius says, yes. Tiberius says, do you know who? Appius says, there are 3 names. The first 2 are unlikely. They have too much to lose by association. The third is more likely. He is a careful man. He has the right kind of reason. Tiberius does not ask the third name. He has a name in mind already. He does not want to say it and have Appius confirm. Confirmation would require a response. He is not ready to respond. He says, when will we know? Appius says, before the third reading. They walk the rest of the edge in silence. At the corner, Appius stops. He says, what will you do if there is a veto? Tiberius says, what I have to do. Appius looks at him. He is old and he has watched things happen in this forum for 40 years. He knows what that answer means. He knows what it will cost. He says, yes. I thought so. He walks away. Tiberius stands at the corner. The forum continues around him. The merchants, the lawyers, the citizens going about the business of a city that does not know what is happening at its edges. He counts the exits. 3. The temple portico. Past the rostra. The narrow gap between the old record buildings. He has been counting them since he was 6 years old. He walks back through the center. Chapter 17. That house. The house on the Palatine is the same house it has always been. Stone floor. Low fire. The window that faces the hill and the city below. Old wood and lamp oil. The faint bread from the shops in the street below that starts before the light does. Cornelia has sat in this room for 27 years. She has sat here when her husband governed well. When he came home tired. When the Senate moved on within the week after he died. She has sat here while 9 children were buried. In 9 different seasons. She has sat here while Tiberius read Blasius for the first time. While he asked whether the law was real. While Blasius said yes. While Tiberius went quiet in the way that meant he was incorporating it. The room does not look like a room where things have happened. It looks like a room. Tiberius is at his desk. He is writing letters. The commission correspondence. Notes to Scaevola about the Latium clause. A letter to Appius about the timeline. A note to Crassus about the calendar of sacred observances and which days the assembly may legally meet. Each letter is precise and short. He does not write more than he means. He has never written more than he means. She watches him from the doorway. She does this sometimes. Not intrusively. He knows she does it. He has known since he was young that her stillness in the doorway meant she was deciding something about him. He has also known since he was young that she would tell him when she had decided, not before. He writes the letters. She stands in the doorway. The fire is between them. Gaius comes in from outside, cold on his coat. He has been at the forum until the second hour past dark. He does this more often now. He comes home with his notes and his face, which tells more than he thinks it does. More than Tiberius's face does. Tiberius has learned to make his face useful. Gaius's face is still often what it actually is. He takes off his coat. He sees his mother in the doorway. He sees his brother at the desk. He reads the room in the way he reads all rooms, from the edges. He sits at the table. He opens his notes. He does not speak yet. He is sorting through what he saw and what it means and what of it is worth saying tonight. This is Tiberius's method, working through a different person. The same patience in a different shape. The three of them in the room. This has happened thousands of times. The same room, the same people, different years around them. The boys at different sizes. Different questions at different ages. The fire always between them, lower or higher depending on the hour. Cornelia has watched this room for 27 years. She knows what it holds and what it has held. She thinks, this is the last winter it will look like this. Not the last winter they will be here. The room will be here. They will be here. But something is changing and she can feel it the way she can feel a season before it actually turns. The quality of the air. The way the light sits on the stone floor. Something in the room knows it is about to become a different kind of room. She does not say this out loud. She files it. Tiberius puts down his pen. He rolls up the last letter. He sets it with the others. He looks at Gaius. He says, "What did you see today?" Gaius looks at his notes. He says, "The man who left alone. I found his name. He is a client of Nazica's from the Esquiline. No public land of his own. He left because Nazica asked him to report." Tiberius says, "Report what?" Gaius says, "The crowd size. The crowd's response. The order of the argument." Tiberius looks at the letters on his desk. He says, "They are counting things." Gaius says, "Yes." Tiberius says, "Good. Let them count." He picks up the last letter again. He checks the seal. Gaius says, "Octavius was asked to leave before you finished. He left at the point where you argued the commission could not be composed of senators. He left at the exact moment you made the argument strongest." Tiberius does not look up. He says, "I know." Gaius says, "He is going to veto it." Tiberius says, "I know." He sets the letter down. The fire makes its sound. Cornelia comes into the room. She sits across from Tiberius. She says, "What are you going to do about the veto?" He looks at her. He says, "What would you do?" She says, "I would ask him to recuse himself, given the land holding in Campania." He says, "He will refuse." She says, "Yes. But then the record shows the refusal." He says, "And then?" She looks at the fire. She says, "Then you make the argument." He waits. She says, "A tribune with personal interest in a bill's outcome should not veto it." She says, "Not a precedent. A principle." He is quiet. She says, "You are going to have to decide how far you will go before they force you to decide in the moment." He says, "I know." She says, "The moment is not the right time to decide." He looks at the fire. He says, "I know." She says, "What have you decided?" He does not answer immediately. This is his method. The question goes in. The processing happens. Then the answer. He says, "Further than I want to. Less far than they think I won't." She says nothing. She thinks, yes. That is the right answer and the dangerous one. She knew he would say it. She has known since she put the books on his desk when he was 14. She goes to bed. She is not afraid. She is very precise about exactly what is going to happen. The fire goes lower. Gaius has gone to bed. Tiberius is still at the desk. The letters, sealed and stacked. Nothing left to write tonight. He sits in the room his father sat in. The room his mother has sat in for 27 years. The room where Blasius came on Tuesdays and explained the land. The room where he was 6 years old and spoke to the wall. where his mother watched from the doorway and filed it. He thinks about the woman at the well. He thinks about the farms. The name she said. The way she said. Not angry. The fact had been a fact too long to be angry about. It was just a fact. Someone owned those farms. Someone had bought them cheap while the men were away. This is what happens. He thinks, this is not what has to happen. He does not know yet what will happen to him. He thinks, I know what should happen. The rest follows from what should happen. He puts out the lamp. He goes to bed. He sleeps the way he has always slept. So, organized. One arm across his chest. The city makes its sounds outside. The Tiber somewhere. Iron on stone. The mule that only works in the dark. The same sounds as always. The same city. Different air. Writer's note. I do not read Tiberius as a man who did not know the risks. I read him as a man who did the calculation and decided to proceed. He knew what the Senate would do. He knew what Octavius would do. He told his mother he would go further than he wanted to. He said this before it happened. I watch what it means to know a thing and proceed anyway. Not courage exactly. Something more specific than courage. The decision to carry a fact you cannot put down. Next time, the forum. The cold comes before the crowd does.